The good old days. Kids playing in the street, popping in and out of each other's houses to share a brew or just to borrow a cup of sugar. But judging by the massive response we had from One Show viewers, this picture of neighbourly love is definitely a thing of the past. One of those who got in touch was Chris from Essex. She wrote to us with this email.
It is no fun when you cannot relax in the late evening or even go to sleep because of youths outside your house. I think the curfew was a good idea and should be extended to problem areas. It would make the streets safer too.
And how did you feel when you could, you're sort of lying in bed and you could hear them outside the house?
Agitated and worried because you didn't know what was going to happen.
Chris has lived in her street for over 30 years, but believes today's fear of crime and antisocial behaviour has isolated neighbours from each other.
People are more suspicious now. My grandmother, if she was in trouble, would have called a man in from the street. Or, can you do this light bulb or whatever? But you couldn't do that now.
And Chris isn't alone in thinking that neighbours are no longer looking out for one another. Research consistently shows that we're less likely to know the people living in our street. Fewer than half of us are able to name between 1 and 5 of our neighbours, which is why the residents of one village in Suffolk are taking matters into their own hands. The Good Neighbour scheme has been running in the village of Shotley for 3 years. Alana is one of the volunteers.
Hi Alana, I'm Justin from the One Show. So Alana, what's this Good Neighbour scheme all about then?
Well, it's just people volunteering in the village to help other people. A group of us got together and we have a duty officer and a list of people, and if anybody's stuck and needing help, they
just ring the number?
They ring that number and the duty officer just runs down the list until she finds somebody that can help.
What kind of things does the scheme do for people?
Well, we can collect prescriptions, do shopping, take people shopping, hospital runs to the surgery.
And it says here kind of garden tidy up, domestic repairs.
Walking dogs.
It's quite a service you offer, really, isn't it?
It is, yes, we'll do anything.
It's good neighbourliness, really, isn't it?
It is. It's just helping out people who have got themselves in a bit of a pickle for whatever reason.
And the scheme hasn't just changed lives in this village. It's been rolled out to 21 communities across Suffolk and involves over 500 volunteers.
And why do you think the scheme's taken off?
Well, I think it's providing a vital need to the most vulnerable people in the community. Volunteers, they form a lot of friendships between themselves and also with the clients, and it helps to build a more cohesive community, I think.
Suffolk certainly seems to be leading the way, bringing neighbours closer together. But is knowing your neighbour really going to change your community? Is it going to address the issues that One Show viewers say they really care about, issues like crime and antisocial behaviour?
To answer that question, I invited an expert on how communities work to join me for a pint in the local pub.
Any schemes which encourage neighbours to look out for each other and work together to solve problems will have an impact on things like antisocial behaviour. I think the building blocks of creating a community that's safe, where people feel like they can bring up their kids and without fear of crime, is people knowing each other. The support the community used to offer, which is difficult to find in some areas now, this scheme plugs that gap by saying there's someone at the end of the phone that can look out for you, that can help you with your shopping, that can take you to the hospital. That's a fantastic way of using new technology to solve an old problem.
For one veteran resident of the village, utilising that new technology is a lifeline, helping her to get to vital hospital appointments.
The women that come in, because I have to go up for x-rays and whatnot, and they would stay there, they'd help me to undress, and they'd wait 2 or 3 hours. Not a grumble, 8 of them.
If a community, a local community, was thinking about setting up a Good Neighbour scheme, I mean, what would you say? What would you say to people?
Join it. Join it and put everything you've got into it and be grateful that you've got good friends around you.
I must say, I think the Good Neighbours scheme seems like a really good thing. It does seem to have brought the village together, and crucially, all the people involved seem to really enjoy it. I suppose the only question I'd have is if it would work in a town or a city.
Because, of course, in urban neighbourhoods, you're nearer the neighbours, but often a long way from knowing them.